Good morning. My name is Julia Novak, and I want to take you back in time just a little bit. It's July of 1992, so 24 years ago. At the time, my daughter was almost 2. My husband had hair, which I really shouldn't talk much about because when you see this, you'll understand why. At the time, I was the assistant to the city manager in Fort Collins, Colorado, a former college athlete who still had game, she thought. I had coached girls softball for a while, learned at that point in my life, loved coaching, didn't like parents. The game is softball, not the beer drinking, slow pitch game, but fast pitch. And I had a friend who asked me to play with him in a men's league. So today I want to share with you some lessons, not just from a fun summer of playing with the guys, but from a lifetime of living in a man's world, being as tall as a man, and an athlete, and someone who was frankly taught never to notice that girls don't do that.
For fast-pitch softball players. When Julia Novak isn't working in the city manager's office, she's hurling some of the deadliest pitches in local softball. Photojournalist Logan Smith introduces us to the ball player in a league of her own.
So I've always believed that being tall was an advantage. And frankly, my only regret about being 5'11" is that I'm not taller, because I'm shorter than both my parents. And, it's useful. I can help people with their bags in the overhead bins on airplanes. I did that 3 times last night when I landed in Kansas City. I can reach things on the top of the shelves at the grocery store for nice little ladies, and it comes in handy. But my parents taught me, you're tall, people are going to notice you. And for whatever, good or bad, my mother hoped always good, people are going to remember you. Add that to that, fading, getting darker, but once upon a time I had red hair. Being memorable can be an advantage. Whatever your advantage is, you need to take it. Wish everyone well, but take it.
Mayor, please.
Tails.
She called it tails. If tails is your
Be
choice.
the home team.
All right,
Great.
take field.
Good luck to you.
Game time 7:30.
So here's the reality. As a woman in this business of being in charge, you're going to stand out. You are not going to be in the majority. If you're brave enough to toss your hat into the ring for a promotion or a job in leadership, one of the realities is that may be an advantage. In our executive search practice, what we have found is that only 22% of the people who apply for all of our recruitments are female. Only 22%. But 39% of our placements are women. And what we say is that competent women earn placement. It may be the only time it's an advantage, but when you have it, take it and represent. It can be a little bit intimidating sometimes, being the only gal in the room, being the only woman in a department, perhaps the only female city manager or department head in a group of men.
I've played softball from the time I was 8 years old until I moved to Fort Collins 5 years ago. I played softball every summer of my life. Ball's in, coming down! I really get into it. I enjoy the competitiveness of pitching. I enjoy going out there and doing it. And so I was intrigued by the idea at first and a little bit intimidated. I figured I'd get hit really hard, and these guys do hit the ball real hard. I don't think about it as playing with the guys. To me, it's not a whole lot different in terms, not like a big step up in terms of competition.
When you step outside your comfort zone, that's where you grow. And oftentimes you find out it really wasn't as hard as you thought it was going to be. So to this day, I cringe when I watch this next clip.
I was always a really good pitcher. I was one of the best pitchers on the East Coast. In my freshman year, I remember our record, we were 41-2. I was 10-0. I gave up 1 home run in 4 years. My ERA was under 1. I was pretty good.
And I was embarrassed. I don't want to sound cocky, right? I don't want to say it. I told my husband I was embarrassed by this clip, and he said, "Honey, good is good." And the reality is, no one else, if you can't make a case for yourself, nobody else is going to do that, but you have to back it up. So I graduated from college 30 years ago. I'm still in the top 8 in most wins, most shutouts, most strikeouts, most inning pitched, most complete games, most wins, and the lowest earned run average. I was pretty good. It's not just saying it, you have to back it up. So know what you're good at and then demonstrate that. If you have excellent analytical skills, talk about, explain, show how you dissected a problem and created a solution and backed it up with data. If you're excellent at people skills, talk about, explain how you diffused a really volatile situation. When you interview, one of the most important things you can do is use specific, concrete examples that show how your skills are transferable in the workplace. It's okay to say you're good, but prove it. Knowing your role on a team is also very important in an organization. So just like on the ball field, my job was simple: throw strikes.
They've all just been as nice as they could be. They're just nice. I just went out and threw batting practice, and they figured I could throw strikes, and that's what they needed.
Know your role and fulfill it with excellence. No matter how good you are, you can't do this alone. I believe that I'm successful today because I've had the good fortune of being surrounded by some of the very best people my entire life.
She's still throwing a good drop. I've been watching her and coaching her for 21 years, so I kind of know what she's going to do with the ball.
It's a good time. It's a good family thing to do. Damn, she does good. She's fun to watch.
We have a drop ball going, and when she's got that going, look out. What we got to do is play behind her.
Yeah, sometimes we don't do that.
And there's a lot of times we don't do that.
My parents, my dad, what can I say? That man's shins are permanently dented from catching balls. I threw 100 pitches a day for practice. He caught me every night in the backyard. And this day that they came and happened to film this little story 24 years ago is still one of the favorite days of my life. My dad was in town. I was in Colorado. He lives in D.C. I had taken the day off work to play golf with one of our council members and my dad up at a golf course that sits at 8,000 feet above sea level called Fox Acres. I played from the men's tees and I beat him. And that night he showed up at the ball field just like he always did. And he does know what I'm going to do when they give me the ball because he taught me. He taught me that when you have the ball, you control the game, you control the tempo, you control what's going to happen on the field. It's just like when you have the opportunity and the responsibility to lead an organization. Step up, take charge, and never ever think that you aren't better than the person who's in the batter's box. Now, my husband, can we just admire the man's mullet for a minute? He's actually not even embarrassed by the mullet because he is so focused on the fact that he still has that t-shirt that he has on. And he pulled it out the other day. I have a picture on my phone if anyone wants to see the bald man he is today. But he is my best buddy. It'll be 29 years we've been married this fall. The newspaper, thank you. The newspaper also did a story the same day that the TV did the story. You know how that works. And the quote of the paper was that, you see the wives in the stands holding their kids, and there's my husband holding our baby. And you didn't see Madeline in the clip, but when he was talking, you weren't laughing. You could hear there was a little high-pitched squeak, squeak, squeak in the back. She's down in the dirt playing under the bleachers. But my advice to you, he's been a great partner in this business of being in charge. He's a constant presence for my family. He still does that today. And if you're gonna pair up, my advice is choose your partner well. And finally, my teammates, you need to play with people who can back you up. field the ground balls, chase down the flies, and today I believe that I'm successful because of the talent that we have at the Novak Consulting Group. They make us look good every day as we fulfill our mission of improving organizations for those they serve and those that work in them. So just to recap very quickly, the home team bats last. If you have an advantage, take it and make the most of it. If you're intrigued and intimidated by an opportunity, the answer is yes, do it. Good is good. Don't be shy about being good. Just back it up with your performance. Throw strikes. Know your role and perform it with excellence. And surround yourself with people who support you being you. And as we close this out, I'm going to end with a final clip. And as I share it, I'm not sure if I should think, wow, I'm prophetic, because here it is 24 years later. And this clip is still timely for women in girls in sports, women in the workforce, and girls in school. But then maybe I should be outraged that here it is 24 years later, and I wouldn't say it any differently.
Well, what I hope is when the little girls come over from their slow pitch game, they come over and they see me out there playing with the guys, that they think, hey, just because we're girls doesn't mean we have to hold ourselves back and set lower standards for ourselves, that they can go out there and they can compete with men on the ball field and in the office and in college and in high school, and that they shouldn't separate themselves from men, because men are half this country and you got to learn to work with them too.
Guys, good job.
Still true. So listen, be brave, be bold, lean in, whatever the just do it mantra is, be competent, and be willing to accept the challenge of leadership. Thanks very much.